Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 4034. Today's date is May 3rd, 2026. It's been almost like a night at 10:30 p.m. I was kind of like looking at the YouTube, okay, and there is a kind of like a one influencer, okay, yeah. Her name is some sort of Sophie. Wait, where is her profile? Uh, Sophie, something like that. She's a kind of like a somewhat something like a fashion. Yeah, she is that. Should I play? Okay, yeah, it's like basically okay. Yeah, so this is a Sophie Silva. Okay, is it recording? Yeah, is it recording? Yeah. So this is a Sophie Silva. Okay, yeah, and she's a fashion something kind of like an influencer or creator. Okay, yeah. She kind of like a create a content regarding about fashion. She wear some sort of kind of like something clothes, and yeah, she kind of like a wear, like basically how is kind of like a creativity that wearing clothes, like basically it's not really that kind of like somebody that key. I don't know how to what is I don't know how to supposed to explain her content. Okay, yeah, her content is kind of like a bit funny. Okay, yeah, she kind of like a mentioned that how she struggled to kind of like a get the trace, like basically her costume is like really weird. Okay, yeah, like literally a normal day-to-day costume is not. She is kind of like wearing like a very like it's very hard to kind of like somebody say what kind like how is that kind of like it's very hard. Okay, yeah, okay. um so she's kind of like wearing such a costume sometime. Such costume does not exist. Okay, so she make costume by her own. Okay, yeah. um Costume is really good. It's not really that bad. It's really good. Okay, yeah. uh Her content is kind of like really good is because of that the way that she kind of like a say like kind of like a bit more funny, and kind of like a try to say this is a costume and this is match is like I don't know, like somewhat something she add her humor into that creativity, which is add her humor into that kind of like a somebody costume and wearing. Yeah, so that's kind of like her content. Okay, yeah. Now she kind of like made a video. Okay, yeah. I'm actually following her from last month maybe. Yeah, like why I follow her. um Basically is this thing na, the humor. Okay, yeah, like she kind of like add that humor thing into that content, and that humor is kind of like a bit more funny. Okay, yeah, so that's why I follow her. Okay, now basically is this thing na ki I was kind of like watching her a couple of videos. Okay, yeah, and kind of like a somewhat something I feel really good, I feel entertained. Okay, right, this is the purpose that she make a video, and yeah, I feel entertained, I feel good. Okay, yeah. Then kind of like a suddenly she kind of like I kind of like see her video like a oldest video, and the oldest video was almost like a 2024 means June 2024. She started doing content on social media platform, and then I see her subscriber. So basically within a 2 year she gained almost like a 4 million subscriber, and I was like, oh my god, like literally I started my own channel. Like basically this is thing I started I kind of like doing YouTube for almost like August 2021. Okay, yeah, and I have almost like a 1700 subscriber. Okay, and she started at kind of like a something like a June 2024, and she has almost like a 4 million subscriber. And I was like, oh my god, like I don't know how to supposed to explain this thing. She's far more younger than me. Yeah, literally I'm 32. She's a kind of like a probably maybe almost like a like almost like a 5 to 7 year lesser than me. Okay, like from every point of perspective, I should supposed to be kind of like a something better than her, but she's, dude, like why are you kind of like started comparing yourself with her? No, I'm not comparing myself, but I just wants to know that ki why she is so ahead and why I am so back. Like why am I so kind of like a something far behind? I'm trying to judge. Okay, I'm trying to judge her. Okay, yeah. Not like basically whatever the kind of like a things I try to judge her. Okay, yeah. So basically her age probably let's just say 25. Okay, yeah. 25, 26 maybe. Okay, yeah. I'm not really sure about her age, but somewhat something like that. Okay. Now what I realized that ki the basically I was actually following her. I'm kind of like watching her videos, and she kind of like simply is this thing that ki um, the sense of fashion she has since the beginning, like since the childhood. Okay, yeah. And she's a kind of like a wearing so many kind of like a weird costumes since she was child. Okay, and yeah, this is kind of like a things. And another thing is that na ki I don't know how to supposed to explain this thing. Okay, yeah, it's a it's a kind of like a thing that na ki like okay, give me the answer that why her channel is actually growing so much. Okay, yeah, like what is actually reason for that? Okay, yeah. um the first reason is that she looks good. Okay, like from kind of like a looking at point of perspective. Okay, yeah, visually point of perspective she looks good. Okay, yeah, but there are so many kind of like a good looking women. Okay, yeah, but why she kind of like a somebody like so much succeed is not only just because of she good look, but also kind of like a she's kind of like a funny, like she has that humor too. Okay, yeah, so she looks good and she have that humor. Okay, yeah, and because of this thing it kind of like a basically is this thing na, like the content that she's kind of like a creating, get ready with me. So this is a kind of like a content is a little bit of kind of like a explicit content. Okay, yeah, like I'm talking about content, I'm not talking about her, I'm not talking about her content, I'm talking about the category of the content. Okay, get ready with me. It's a kind of like a some content regarding about the women are kind of like a wearing a kind of like a some sort of costume, and those women are kind of like a making reels and things and that. Okay, yeah. Specifically this, it depends on creator that that creator wants that get ready with me content little bit of explicit, she can make it. Okay, yeah, but this user, this Sophia, she does not do that. She does not do kind of like any explicit or things and that. She use humor. Okay, yeah, she use humor and confident. Okay, and because of this thing her content doesn't really feel like that. Her content feel like that ki fun and fashion. Okay, yeah, like basically is this thing na ki get ready with me, like this type of category does not really attach with her content because of that ki like she's a kind of like a kind of like a creating such piece of content which is exactly like that, but it's not really that like a she's kind of like she's wearing kind of like a such a costume that is very unique in itself. She put a lot of effort, like she became kind of like a puss in boot. Okay, yeah, she became like a basically is this you know, she became such a character that costume does not really exist. Like a puss in boot, this is a kind of like a character, there is a cat character and there is no costume, like that puss in boot character, they have just a boot and they have just hat and they have kind of like a, somebody just a sword, nothing really at all. Okay, yeah, but she makes a costume according to that, according to the theme and things and that, which is creativity and unique. Okay, yeah, and which is also resonate that ki she exactly look like Puss in Boot. Okay, there are so many Rapunzel, then multiple kind of like a similar costume. She make a content regarding about multiple characters, and the costume is exactly matched with that character. Okay, somewhat something resonate, and which is really good. Because of that, let me tell you one thing. Okay, let's just say a animated character name kind of like a somebody. Let's just say any Disney princess. Moana. Okay, Moana is a Disney princess. Yeah, Moana is a Disney princess. Okay, yeah. So basically, it's this thing that key, like, let's take a Moana is a Disney princess, and she is a try to make a kind of like look like Moana. Okay, yeah. So basically, Moana is a kind of like a costume which is, I don't know about that much costume regarding about this thing. Okay, yeah. But what I kind of like realize that ki her costume is somewhat something almost like a 80 to 90% match. Okay, yeah, but not just a costume, but as well as entire character. Like basically is this thing, if that particular this Sophia character, this Sophia creator, if she kind of like decided that she wanted to do the kind of like assembly the Moana costume design things like that. Okay, yeah. So what she could supposed to do, she kind of like assembly create the costume according to the Moana and things and that. She do the fitting by herself regarding about that costume should supposed to fit her. Okay, yeah. Also another thing is that na ki Moana is a character is a little bit of kind of like a brown. Okay, yeah. And this Sophia is not brown, is a white girl. Okay, yeah. So she painted her. She kind of like a paint her entirely by like brown. And that Moana character have a kind of like a curly hair. She doesn't really have curly hair, so she will kind of like make that curly hair. Okay, yeah. So basically, is this thing that she will do everything to look like Moana, and at the end of the day, she kind of like a look like Moana. Almost like a maybe 98 or 99% exactly look like Moana. So this is her creativity. Okay, this is her creativity because she kind of like a somebody like let me tell you one thing now. Wearing costume and kind of like a creating costume is a two different thing. Okay, wearing costume means whatever the costume that you have, you just have to wear. Okay, but she does not do that. She kind of like a somebody make the costume that she not kind of like a somebody take the kind of like a sewing classes and things. No. She kind of like a whatever the costume that she has, she kind of like utilize the color palettes. Okay, which kind of like a somebody the choker which have color palette, the belt color, the another like the basically is this thing that she I don't know, like I'm not really used to with this fashion kind of like a things, but what she does, she kind of like a match the color. Okay, because I understand the color theory. In the color theory is this thing that you have to be kind of like a associate with a some sort of color that exactly match with that particular final output. Okay, it's a very hard to explain. I don't know how I'm supposed to explain this thing, but she kind of like a do that thing. Okay, she kind of like a somewhat something make costume. She kind of like a somebody, I don't know how she does it, but she kind of like a make it, and that's her creativity. Okay, plus add humor. Okay, and another thing is that she also look good too. Okay, and because of this thing, that's why I think that she has a kind of like a massive that much amount of subscriber and things and that. Okay, so basically is this thing that like then I have to be asked this question to myself, does she deserve for this 4 million subscriber? Definitely, yeah, because she put effort. Because I see her video and I realize that she record an almost entire day to kind of like a make a recording. Like she spent almost like an entire day to make the one reel. Yeah, literally entire day. Like literally in the back of the wall, I could kind of like a see the shadow of the sun kind of like a change. Okay, so basically she put a lot of effort to kind of like assembly making the reels and things and that. So she putting the effort, she has a creativity, she has a humor, and she looks really good too. So because of all those things, definitely she needs to be deserve 4 million subscriber, and she does, and she have that thing. Okay, yeah. Now I have to be asked this question to myself, that why I didn't really have 4 million subscriber. What exactly is this thing? Well, probably is this thing na ki there are so many kind of like a flaws that I realize in myself. Okay. First of all is that ki she was really sure about what kind of like a content she want to make. Like basically, let me tell you one thing. When I started creating piece of content, like when I started creating content creation, I was not really sure what kind of like a content should I supposed to be make. Okay, yeah. Like I was decided that ki, let's make a content regarding about the kind of like a something filmmaking. I make short film. Then I started making travel filmmaking. Okay, yeah. And then after that, I kind of like assembly self something kind of like assembly self discipline kind of like a video I started making. Then I jump back to another travel filmmaking, and after all those things I realized that I don't really get any kind of like some growth. Okay, yeah. Then I jump into the gaming content creation. I started gaming content. Okay, yeah. I in that gaming content I change a lot. At the beginning I was kind of like focusing on playing game and kind of like some gameplay. Then after that I'm kind of like extracting kind of like a one of the like a like basically this thing that key how do I supposed to kind of like a exciting part about the game. Then I kind of like somebody started doing reels, then kind of like a game dubbing. Okay, yeah. And then after that I kind of like a try to make a content gaming content as much as professional. But then I realized that no, gaming content is not my thing. And then I kind of like a jump back to my original thing. I started kind of like a creating content regarding about photography. Okay, yeah. Like I kind of like started taking photos and things and that. Then after that I'm started utilizing kind of like a Photoshop. Okay, yeah. Then I kind of like some creating kind of like some content regarding about Photoshop. Okay, yeah. Then after that I kind of like a created Photoshop content. Okay, yeah. Photography is actually gone. Then I'm kind of like a completely focus on graphic designing. Okay, yeah. I kind of like did for almost like a 1.5 year. Then AI came. Okay, yeah. I started kind of like a creating content in AI, creating my design. So do you realize that how many times I change my piece of content? How many times? Okay, yeah. And even after still at the moment, I'm still not really sure I'm kind of like actually creating this piece of content or not. Like basically that's what kind of like a things. Like they basically is this thing na ki, like let me tell you one thing na. I am actually creating content. Okay, yeah. And I'm kind of like a creating content regarding about kind of like a somewhat something graphic designing, like motivation, somewhat something like that. Okay, yeah. I'm kind of like a creating this piece of content, but still I'm not really sure about that thing. And because of I'm not really sure about this thing now, I also realize that I will not gonna become a kind of like a YouTuber, or I will not gonna become that many kind of like a subscriber, or one thing for sure is that I will not gonna earn money from the YouTube. Okay, yeah, this is thing. But why you are not became like a you are put spend almost like a 4 5 year of your life on YouTube? Why do you think that you will not gonna become you are not gonna earn money from YouTube? Well, the problem is that na ki it's like I don't know how do I supposed to explain this thing. Okay, yeah. Like basically sometimes I realize that ki I might gonna earn you money from the YouTube, but it just like I don't know. Okay, like let me tell you one thing now. My life is kind of like a really fucked dude. Okay, yeah. I was kind of like a wanted to be filmmaker. I fail, I fail, I fail. Right now I'm kind of like a building application. And I might think that okay, I'm gonna make this kind of like artifact application and it might gonna work. Basically, dude, yeah, do not think about that. Okay, like let me tell you one thing now. you are changing your piece of content, you are kind of like a changing your content. Okay, yeah, that means you are improving, na? You are improvising. Okay, yeah, you are figuring out that key what kind of like a some content that you could able to be make and things and that you are like a basically this na, you are facing the failure. It is the evidence of you are moving towards forward. Like basically this thing na, if you are just kind of like a simply stay still, you will not gonna fail, you will not gonna grow. So basically this thing, if you are facing the failure na, so that means you are growing, you are understanding what's not working and you are fixing that thing. Okay, so basically don't think about that stuff. Okay, yeah, dude, yeah, I understand, but the problem is that na ki I'm 32. Every day I wake up, I don't want to wake up. Every day my parents are actually looking at me and I don't like the way that my parents are actually looking at me. I don't know what do I supposed to say, dude. Like basically this thing na ki sometime I realize that ki I am the kind of like a top of the world. Sometime I realize that ki I'm gonna make a kind of like a somebody such a thing that kind of like a somebody change the world and things and that and that and that. I what not I was actually thinking about that. Then sometime I realized that how fuck I was. My things, my goals are unrealistic. Every time I try, like I am like I'm putting like effort, like everyone actually putting effort. It's not really that. Like basically, na, this is kind of like something that na ki I don't know. Yeah, like one thing for sure is that now I will not gonna fail you, dude. I might gonna fail today. I might gonna fail tomorrow. I might not fail in my life, dude. Like this is the one thing I realize that. Like the one thing that I will gonna do, just keep doing. I'm just keep doing my stuff. I don't know will I get succeed or not. Will I get money or not? I know that one day I will get everything that I wanted. I just have to keep doing this thing. And do not started comparing yourself. Na, dude. Why are you started comparing yourself with that particular girl? I don't know. I just like basically it's this thing. I realized that she was started making content exactly when I started creating content. And I realized that she is actually far ahead of me and I was kind of like a far behind of her. But dude, there is also another thing you have to understand. Okay, that she is a kind of like a basically is this thing na, you are kind of like a looking at such a person who is kind of like a somebody success. And let me tell you one thing na, how many people getting succeed? Let's take a understanding. In 100 out of, how many people will get successful people? In 100 out of, maybe 2 or 3. Okay, so let's take a kind of like a 5. Okay, yeah. So in 100 out of 5 people are successful people, 95 people are not successful people, yeah, unsuccessful people. Now define success means what? Success means what? Those 5 people, they achieve success is because of they are wanted to do the things that they wanted to do and they are doing it that. Okay, and they are earning money. 95 people are also earning money too, but they are earning money very less and they are not kind of like a love the job they are doing. Okay, yeah. So that's why those 5 people are successful people and 95 people are unsuccessful people. Okay, yeah. So let's just say you are the kind of like a somebody is this thing that you are trying to do. Okay, you are trying to achieve your goals and things and that and you are kind of like a being really unsuccessful category of the people. So basically when you are unsuccessful category of the people, you are kind of like a looking those 5 people. So that's why you are kind of like a started comparing that she is so far ahead and I'm so far behind. Okay, yeah. Okay, so basically is this thing, the people that you seen on social media platform or any kind of like assembly are the successful people, and successful people are always less in number. Okay, yeah. So this is what it is. Now, if you want to become a successful, just keep doing it that. Like the basically, it's not really that he those 100 out of like people will not gonna become like a unsuccessful all the time. If you are putting effort, if you are putting continue consistency, you will gonna maintain. You will kind of like become that particular person. Yeah. I'm kind of like a giving hope every single day regarding about this thing that I will gonna get succeed and things and that. This is it. This is it. Thank you.